All right, today we are cracking the code on a hormone that you probably think you know, but you probably have all wrong. We're talking about cortisol. And I'm going to show you how understanding this one thing is maybe the most powerful lever you have for mastering your energy and just crushing burnout for good. So let me ask you this. For years, you've probably heard that cortisol is the bad guy, right? It's the stress hormone we're supposed to get rid of at all costs. But what if that's completely backwards? What if cortisol is actually one of your most powerful allies for focus, for energy, and for just feeling good? And this quote right here, this is the key that unlocks everything. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman puts it perfectly. Cortisol isn't really a stress hormone. Nope. Its main job, its number one purpose is to deploy energy. We're talking glucose, blood sugar, and get it to the tissues that need it most, especially your brain. So let's just completely rethink this hormone. Because the moment you stop seeing cortisol as the enemy and start seeing it as an energy management tool, you suddenly gain control. And that control, well, that's the secret to a high-performance life. Think about it this way. Anything that requires you to be alert and engaged needs cortisol. Waking up in the morning? That's cortisol. A tough workout? Cortisol. Heck, just focusing on a difficult task at work? That requires a release of cortisol to get your brain the fuel it needs to perform. It's not just for fight or flight emergencies. So here's the mental model I want you to have. This isn't some uncontrollable flood of stress that just washes over you. Your daily cortisol level is actually a predictable rhythmic wave. And the whole point of this explainer is to teach you how to surf that wave like a pro. And that brings us right to this daily wave, your natural 24-hour cortisol rhythm. Understanding how this is supposed to work is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. Okay, now what's so cool about this is the timing. It's all about timing. In a healthy cycle, your cortisol should be super low in the evening. That's what lets you fall asleep. Then, a few hours into your sleep, it starts to rise just a little bit. But then, in those last couple of hours before you wake up, it ramps up fast. That big surge is literally your body's natural alarm clock, leading to that sharp, healthy peak right when you open your eyes. And this shows you exactly what we're aiming for. See that ideal curve? It's this beautiful high peak of energy in the morning that gently tapers off all day. Now look at the other one. That's burnout. It's either a flat, blunted curve where you just have zero energy all day, or the peak is shifted way too late, leaving you feeling exhausted all morning and then frustratingly wired and tired at night. So the big question is, how do we build that big, healthy morning peak? Well, this next part is all about the exact science-backed tools to do just that. This is where you take control. It really comes down to 3 non-negotiable behaviors. Seriously, if you do nothing else, do these. First, and this one is the most important, get bright light in your eyes. Second, hydrate with some water as soon as you can. And third, move your body a little bit. These 3 simple actions are powerful signals that tell your brain, okay, the day has officially started. And please do not underestimate the power of that first step. Getting outside for just a few minutes of real sunlight, not through a window, within that first hour of waking can jack up your morning cortisol peak by as much as 50%. I mean, think about that. That is a massive boost to your energy, your mood, and your focus for the entire day. It's a total game changer. Okay, let's talk about everybody's favorite tool, caffeine. Now here's the twist. If you're a regular coffee drinker, it doesn't really spike your cortisol that much anymore. What it does do is extend its half-life. It keeps it around longer. You know that dreaded 3 p.m. crash? That's often just your morning cortisol falling off of a cliff. So by waiting just 60 to 90 minutes before you have that first cup, you use the caffeine to smooth out that drop-off, creating a much gentler slope and sustained energy all afternoon. All right, so we've totally dialed in the morning peak, but that's only half the battle. Now we have to make sure we create that deep, low evening trough so we can actually rest, recover, and get great sleep. So in the evening, we're doing the exact opposite of what we did in the morning. We want to bring cortisol down. So first, dim the lights. especially those bright overhead lights. This sends a powerful signal to your brain that the day is ending. Second, try to limit stressful stuff like arguments or scrolling through intense news. And third, and this might surprise you, consider having some starchy carbohydrates with your final meal. This helps lower cortisol by telling your body it's well fed and has plenty of energy to relax. Now, if you do feel stress creeping in at night, or anytime really, here's a little superpower. It's called the physiological sigh. It's a double inhale through your nose, followed by a long, slow, full exhale through your mouth. Just 1 to 3 of these is the fastest known way to slam the brakes on your stress response in real time. Seriously, try it right now. It really works. So now we have the tools, right? We know how to raise our morning peak and how to lower our evening trough. Let's put it all together and apply it to fix the 2 most common patterns of burnout. Does this phrase just hit home for you? You're completely exhausted, but your mind just won't shut off at night. That is the classic textbook sign of a dysregulated cortisol rhythm. The question is, which kind is it? Okay, so burnout usually falls into one of these 2 camps. Pattern 1, you wake up feeling anxious, like super stressed and on edge, but then you just hit a wall and crash hard in the afternoon. Pattern 2 is the opposite. You literally can't drag yourself out of bed, you feel sluggish all day, and then come bedtime, you're wide awake. All right, here is the playbook. If you're pattern 1, your cortisol is spiking way too high and way too early. The fix? Delay that morning caffeine to smooth out the crash. And maybe try a 10-minute NSDR, or non-sleep deep rest, in the morning. It's basically a guided meditation that brings you into deep relaxation and can help take the edge off that anxiety spike. Now, if you're pattern 2, your whole rhythm is just shifted too late. So for you, the key is to double down on those evening protocols. Really commit to dimming the lights, avoiding any caffeine late in the day, and trying those smart carbs with dinner to help signal to your body that it's time to wind down. Look, the most important thing to take away from all of this is that none of this is random. Your energy, your focus, your sleep, these are not things that just happen to you. By understanding this cortisol wave, you can take direct, deliberate control over your own biology. You're in the driver's seat. So I'll leave you with this question. After hearing all this, which pattern sounds more like you? And more importantly, what is the one simple step you are going to take, maybe tomorrow morning or maybe even tonight, to start learning how to surf your own cortisol wave? Thanks for tuning in to The Explain.